Mariana Trench facts. People have always been attracted by the tallest places on Earth. Be it the icy tops of the Himalayas or the mesas of the vast American desert, their openness is a very inviting thought to many people. But this can sometimes make us forget about the opposite end of this very spectrum, that is, the dark and murky depths of the world. And after learning more about them, it might not be too bad a thing. Welcome to the channel, guys. Today we'll be going over one of the most hotly requested topics in a long time, and that is the Mariana Trench. Before we move further, I must ask you guys to please subscribe, as it would help support the channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. With that done, let's get into today's video with some of the most chilling and awe-inspiring facts about the Mariana Trench. Make sure to watch till the end, as some facts on this list will blow your mind. Number 1. Not just a pit. The idea of a dark underwater pit that goes as far deep as the Mariana Trench does, can conjure up an image of a few 100 feet wide chasm that goes down under. However, the reality couldn't be further from the truth, as the trench is not only impressive vertically, but the horizontal dimensions are nothing to scoff at either. Running over 2,550 kilometers across the ocean floor and over 69 kilometers wide, this pit can swallow entire ships and airplanes and villages too, many times over, leaving no trace or way to detect them. Number 2. Recent discovery. Unlike the tall mountains and large reefs which have been common knowledge in local folklore and most cultures, the Mariana Trench is a relatively recent discovery, only being discovered in 1875 by the Challenger expedition. The scientists on this utilized a weighted rope to judge the depth of the trench, which they found to be around 8,000 kilometers. What this means is that for the majority of human history, ships have traveled over this deep ocean chasm without ever knowing what existed deep beneath them. Number 3. Opposite temperatures. It's common nautical knowledge that the further down you go into the ocean, the colder it gets. With the loss of sunlight and the natural tendency of cold water to settle down, it's no surprise that the dark abyss of the Mariana Trench is a cold place. With the ambient temperature hovering just above freezing, around 1 to 2 degrees Celsius. However, that's not all, as the trench is also home to some of the hottest places on Earth. The hydrothermal vents that are scattered all around this volcanically active area can spout hot water at the temperatures of over 450 degrees Celsius. So yeah, you can either be frozen or BW boiled to death. The choice is up to you. Number 4. Life thrives down there. One might imagine that arguably the single most extreme environment on the planet would be detrimental to the growth of life, but yet again the wonders of this planet fascinate us. The few probes and 2 expeditions that were undertaken to chart the chasm have found that it is to a myriad of species. From fascinating Dumbo octopi to tiny sharks and huge jellyfish, it seems that the place is home to a variety of life that we couldn't have expected from this place. And reports suggest that it's not only home to, but a hot spot for microbial life. A large amount of the ocean's dead matter descends down there, and this has caused a huge density of these bacteria and plankton, and scientists have even suggested that this, coupled with the hydrothermal vents, could be the place where life actually originated. Pretty wild, right? Number 5. Pressures. With 11 kilometers of water standing overhead, it is expected that the Mariana Trench would be one of the highest pressure places on the planet, but just how much, might still surprise you. According to surveys, the pressure near the floor reaches over 1,000 bars, which is 1,000 times greater than the surface pressure we experience. As an estimate, that's the equivalent of 11 elephants standing over each other, on each inch 2 on your body. Yeah, that's right, at that pressure even the very molecules of water are pushed together so much that its density increases by 5%. According to estimates, if a nuclear bomb were to explode at the bottom of the trench, the pressure would overpower it and make it collapse in on itself. That should give you an idea on just how powerful it is. Number 6. Elemental Lake. At the depth of about 1,300 feet into the trench there is the submarine volcano called Daikoku. This might not be that impressive at first, as it's neither too deep nor too rare, as the trench is one of the world's biggest volcano hotspots in the world. However, this volcano is home to perhaps the single most rarest chemical occurrence on the planet, that in the form of a lake of molten sulfur. That's right, guys, Elemental sulfur has been found to exist near the volcano, and among the sweltering hot waters and fumes of white smoke that flow up from the vents, there exists a pool where sulfur burns in the form of a blackish goo at a temperature of 180 degrees. To get an idea of just how rare it is, the only other place where this phenomenon has been noticed is not only not on this planet, but all the way on one of Jupiter's moons. Number 7. Only 3 people have been down there. The ocean is very commonly said to be the most unexplored part of the world, with us having a better knowledge of the surface of Mars than the depths of our own oceans, partially due to water doing a great job of hiding whatever lies down there, and partially because of the extreme conditions we have to face in order to get to those depths. However, a place like the Mariana Trench is sure to attract the curious, and there's one spot in particular that has been the subject of 2 manned missions, that being the Challenger's Deep. This is the single deepest spot on the trench and is named after the ship that discovered it, and all the way back in 1960, 2 explorers, scientist Jacques Piccard and U.S. Navy Lieutenant Don Walsh traveled down the deep in a submarine. The second expedition to the deep was done not by a team of researchers but by the famous Hollywood director, James Cameron, who had a 24-foot submarine designed which had a 9-inch thick window in order to withstand the immense pressure of the deep. On his trip he took vital information and the first ever snapshots of life in the Challenger's Deep. With that, it's time to wrap up today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed watching it. If you did, please be sure to leave a like down below to show your support, and subscribe if you haven't already. With that out of the way, that's all from our side, and I'll see